Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. I don't have any fun, goofy April Fool's Day things for you. Didn't really have my stuff together for that this morning. So sorry for that. We will just have to be true to the cause and tell the truth on things. So, anyway, of course, I am Hammer from Hammer Solutions with great products such as Originator, Success, Grab and Go Social, and Rate Sensei. Remember, you can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, except for yesterday. I did miss out because they scheduled my surgery early. I had to be at the hospital at 5:30 in the morning. While we normally would have been live, I think I was probably in recovery by then, but I was still coming out of anesthesia. So there wasn't going to be a live yesterday. So anyway, join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. Here I am back from knee surgery yesterday. We'll call it 110% because I got 10% more than I left with. Something's in there. So today we are going to chat about what's going on with rates and pricing. You've seen some uptick. You've seen some hope for rate sheets. Trump talking about getting out. Doesn't care if we finish the job or not. Again, I'm not dishing. That's what the headlines say. That's what Trump said. But now he says that, he'll consider a ceasefire when the Strait of Hormuz is open. So we'll see. He's got some of that stuff. Again, one of Trump's, I'm going to call it one of his greatest strengths is the fact that it's the thing that drives everybody crazy and that all the Trump haters point to, which is that he's wishy-washy and he bounces around on things. He will always keep everybody on their toes. You never know what's going to change. So that's we just got to be aware of that. Just be careful of that. That applies to pricing. That's why we're talking about it. So anyway, if you don't want to miss a moment of the show, you want to join me live each weekday, remember you can sign up for text reminders, hmmr.io/reminder, hmmr.io/reminder, or use this cool QR code over here. You can also sign up for our email lock advice, which I admit I did not send out yesterday because I was in surgery, so I did not write a morning lock advice, and I did not feel like writing one at 2:30 in the afternoon. So there was no written lock advice yesterday, but normally that does go out, of course. But our text alerts, those are paid for. So, of course, they did go out, and those were taken care of. So you can sign up for those as well. All right, my friends. Well, good morning. Tiffany Teal, Megan Bassell, Yasmin Martin. Ron Siegel says today is National Sourdough Bread Day. Dude, my mother-in-law, she's got a sourdough. She makes so much more than bread. She doesn't even really make bread unless it's like banana bread or zucchini bread. She makes scones and cookies and all kinds of things with her sourdough. So it's definitely a cool thing. Yep, no jumping jacks for me today, Alan Christian. I'll have to get back to that stuff later. Right now, I just had to do knee bends and knee lifts and leg raises. So the new headline will be U.S. potentially pulling out of NATO since they weren't there for us in this conflict. Yeah, I think that's actually been thrown around a couple of times already. We'll see what happens with that. And it's been a thing. Would that have been 5:30 a.m. Eastern time or real time? It's Eastern time, which is the real time. Yeah, I had to be 5:30 in the morning, which would have been 2:30 in the morning for y'all in the West Coast. So anyway, thank you, Yasmin. Yep, surgery went well. I will not take any credit for being a warrior, but everything did go well. I got my leg up. And we'll keep going. So anyway, let's dive right in this morning. I don't have things set up too much today. I'm still getting acclimated. It took me a little longer to get set up here this morning, but taking a look here, we've got mortgage-backed securities. If you remember, we moved to the 5.5 coupon. We could argue that you can follow the 5.0. That's the one that Matt Graham has still got the little star next to right here. And he says that's the most relevant coupon. I don't necessarily agree. If you move to that 5.0 coupon, you could see it's actually down a tick. Not really a big deal, but there's a little bit of a difference. You're going to see less activity on that. I mean, I guess he would argue if I upgrade my service, you can see the amount of activity. There might be more trading activity there, but traders are not looking to hold a 5.0 coupon right now with rates being higher. They'll hold 5.5, 6.0. They want a higher yield. That's basically what this comes down to is they'll want a larger yield because they anticipate that inflation or rates will be higher longer. So 10-year treasury yield at 4.31, my friends. We never did threaten that 4.5 mark before things started to improve. So that's a really good thing that we are seeing. It actually was even lower than that this morning, opened up at 4.29, was below 4.30. Again, still a huge difference from where we were before this whole Iran situation. And but you can see we did have, I think if we were to check these dates, this is probably the last time that Trump talked about that we weren't going to be there for that long. And then this time is even more. So we're seeing more of a drop as traders kind of become less concerned about that. We've also seen a big reversal in Fed futures. Remember that just a week ago, the expectation right here was that we were going to see a rate hike. It was almost a 20% expectation that we would see a rate hike. And now we're back down to over a 20% expectation that we'll see a rate cut. This is a very graphic picture, but that is a big swing. It is a big swing. So we are swinging the big picture here. Come on. I know some of you know where I'm going with this one, but there's a big move over here. This is a big deal because it shows that markets much less afraid of things continuing to get worse. But this does talk about weakness. It talks about economic weakness, possible recession, labor market weakness, and we have labor market data this week that will continue to come into play. If we take a look here and we pull up the economic calendar, and let me just slide this over so the whole thing is on the screen. Here you go. So make this a little smaller. There you are. So I can do this week. Okay, so yesterday we had JOLTS data. I have to admit I didn't even look and see what it was. Let's see. Okay, so today we've got ISM manufacturing PMI. We've got Trump talking at 9 o'clock. Let's point out this one. And Matt Graham has it with a big yellow star next to it, meaning he thinks that it can change markets. And I agree. So when you're looking at your loans at the end of the day today, we want to take into account that Trump will be addressing the nation this evening at 9 o'clock about what's going on in Iran. And it's probably going to be good for rates, but we don't know. You never know. But if he talks about, hey, we're going to get out of there, leave, basically the attitude that Trump is showing right now is that we're going to leave this to everybody else to clean up, the mess that we started. You could argue, we did start it. So, along with Israel. But, it's kind of funny. Like, he keeps them on their toes. Iran says U.S. isn't serious about diplomacy. Comments came after President Trump said he would leave Iran in 2 to 3 weeks with or without a deal. That does stick with what he has said before he was elected, that he doesn't want any more forever wars. And, he may, he's going to come out of this and claim victory no matter what. Do we actually have any victories? I don't know. Did we affect their behavior? Did we change their course of the future for nuclear arms? I don't know any of that. I'm just a guy in a barn in North Carolina. But that would be the idea of why this was all done and the effect that it's had and different things on pricing with, oil prices in the markets and pushing down stocks and everything else. We'll see a rebound. The question is, how much of a rebound will we see? How much will rates come back? So rate outlook today, rates are looking better. We're seeing some improvement. We capped out. We were right around that 6.64 is what you're showing on Mortgage News Daily as, the high point there. Basically a month to the day, it was February 27th that we were at 599. So a month to the day, we kind of hit that high point and then we started to drop back down. We would continue to drop probably to the 6.25, looking at Mortgage News Daily. We'd be back down here, 6.29, 6.24. We're not going to get back down into here yet. I don't think that's going to come quickly. So the question is, do we see any longer term effects, any drag on the economy? How does Friday's jobs data come out? So that's where we get back to the Fed and the Fed meeting. And how does Friday's jobs data come into play? If that Friday's job data shows weakness, shows a weak labor market, that's going to be a big thing. Ron Siegel said the talk tonight will be more about NATO than Iran. Is that for sure, Ron, or is that your feeling on that one? He will discuss the new Iranian president, not president, but the Ayatollah, and the status of Hormuz. We'll be done with Iran by the time POTUS leaves for the China meeting, May 14th or 15th. Yeah, that's still the middle. That's still 6 weeks away, 5 weeks away. So definitely a long ways away there. Ron shared with me some information from Daniel DiMartino Booth. Thank you again, Ron, for sharing that. And you guys can all, if you would like to have a service, I put it in ChatGPT just to break it up for us so that we can kind of get it dumbed down, because I didn't want to share her information directly, but I wanted to share the gist of her information here. So big picture, arguing the jobs market is getting weaker, even if headline numbers don't fully show it yet, and things could get worse soon. A key warning sign just crossed to a danger level. It's a measure called jobs hard to get. Basically, how many people think jobs are hard to find? When it goes above 20%, bad things have historically followed, like recessions. It just went above 21% in early 2026. So that's something that, again, these are things that the real economists are looking at. And this could play into the idea that we need to go ahead and lower the Fed funds rate. Warsh's job probably just got a whole lot easier after seeing things slow down, and the idea that we're going to be out of Iran soon. So unemployment might go higher, even if forecasts say it won't. Experts think unemployment will stay around 4.4%, but this indicator has a strong track record of predicting increases. So although the official outlook is calm, data suggests unemployment could rise. And that would, if we see unemployment rise, that's going to lead into more talk of recession and other economic weakness. Deeper fear indicator flashing recession risk. They built something called the labor shock indicator. It tracks how worried people are about jobs. When it stays very high, recessions usually follow. People are getting nervous about the jobs. When that happens, the economy usually weakens next. That's because people that are afraid they're not going to have money coming in aren't spending money. But when you have to spend as much money as we have to spend for any goods today, that'll keep us there. So Ron said it was a comment from POTUS in an interview with Reuters this morning. Oh, that it'll be okay. ChatGPT is great. I have a ChatGPT for all newsletters, so I get the same summary format all the time. Thanks, Todd Ballinger, for the GPT. Yep. Very cool. So anyway, as we go through this, workers are quitting less because they're afraid they're not going to be able to find new jobs. Wages are likely to slow down. Job numbers might get revised downward. Bottom line, the surface level data might look stable, but underneath, multiple indicators are signaling trouble. Now, I will say that there is probably a lot of truth to this. Danielle DiMartino Booth is much smarter than I am, but she's been saying this for a long time. I don't know that this is really going to change anything that we walk into on Friday's data. So I'm not too worried about that and where that brings us. But as far as where we go and where rates go from here, we've got a really good chance of seeing things continue to improve from here, especially if headlines continue in this direction where we see, a ceasefire. Remember, the first step is a ceasefire. The second step is a full resolution where everything is out of there. We also, though, need to be careful, because while this is all being said, Trump is well documented for flipping, and we have a third aircraft carrier that is on its way over to the Middle East right now. There's a lot of boots on the ground potential. So if something changes, if something happens, that could be there. So attacks continue across the Middle East, even as Donald Trump fueled market optimism by signaling he's preparing to exit the conflict. He plans his speech at 9 p.m. Washington time. That's right, East Coast time, baby. 6 o'clock for y'all Westerners. Trump to give a speech on Wednesday on the Iran war, White House says. President Donald Trump will deliver a speech on Wednesday to update about the war in Iran. Plans for this primetime address come after the U.S. president said that he foresaw the U.S. ending the war in Iran in the coming weeks. And again, he said this before, and then we saw things kind of escalate from there. So we can't take this as mantra, but you, of course, are seeing a positive reaction to it because of that. So we will see. That's all right. You could be late to the party, Amy. Ironic, Danielle DiMartino Booth has been hawkish on the economy for a while. Her comments seem to materialize once we see the revisions. Yeah, that's good to know too, though. So she's been hawkish on the economy, but weak on the labor market, saying the weakness of the labor market. So, all right, my friends, well, that's about it. We can wrap it up. Not much else to talk about. Again, the main thing is go ahead and continue to cautiously float for now. Let me see if I have that lock advice written there, right? The outlook for rates is that they are looking better. We just need to see a continuation with what we're seeing for the ceasefire and resolution in the Middle East, and then we'll see how long it takes for rates to recover. Economic weakness, not surprisingly, but ironically, economic weakness, labor market weakness would help rates get down faster. So as much as it's kind of a screwed up way of seeing things, we do want to see a weakness in the labor market and a weakness in the economy would be good for us. It'll be good for rates. So on that note, I'm going to wrap it up, my friends. Thanks again for joining me. Sorry I missed you yesterday, and thanks for showing up today. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and same bad time, same bad channel. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.